Welcome back to NFHell Season 2, Episode 2. I'm your host, Midwest Jet. We just finished the draft. We got Dames Marvs right here in Omaha. G-Man Jazz coming in from Iowa.
A+ draft, boys. A+ draft.
And GOBO wearing a different jersey. How's it going, boys?
Something to tell us? You got something to tell us?
Oh no, I'm just coordinating my outfits. Plus, I think I've worn every one of my Packers jerseys on the show, so I'm diversifying. It's not the regular season yet.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm in Washington and Mariners gear, so
Right.
Is that insanity or
NFL. I mean, NFL makes you do crazy shit, you know?
True.
Sometimes you're wearing your team shit, the next time you're throwing it down. You know, it happens. The first thing we're going to get to this week, fifth-year options, right? A lot of teams have these players that, you know, are coming up. They're saying, you know what, we're not going to sign you to that 5-year, the extended thing. And then some teams are, but right now I feel like a lot of teams, and I'm going to start with the Jets, Mekhi Becton. He was a 11th pick overall a few years back, so to speak, and his 5th-year option not picked up. Now, to be fair, I'm with the Jets. He played one season, he was a beast, and then he played one game, and then he's been injured. So it's kind of like, why would we give you one more year when you haven't even given we've had you for 3 and you've given us 1? What do you think?
So let me explain for those that don't know. The 5th-year option is an option given to the team and the player based on being drafted in the first round. So if you were drafted in the first round, you get a 4-year contract right out of the gate, and then with a 5th-year option. Now, the problem that I have is not like he was a beast, then he was good, and then he got hurt. Why would I give him another year? It's why would I give him another year and 10 times his salary for that year? That's the problem that the teams are having. They're not saying, we don't trust you. We don't want to. I mean, if they were paying him, $1 million to sit out with the option of him being able to participate at some point, I'm sure they would do that. But $12 million, I'm looking at Jordan Brooks in particular. He got injured in this season, and he's going to miss the first 8 games of this coming season at least. And this is his 4th year. This is his prove-it year. And the options came up now. They said no. I mean, why would you pay somebody $2 million and then $12 million? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Again, before we move to Jess, that's not saying that they're not going to extend these players at some point. Just saying they'll do a contract of some type, but they're not just going to guarantee you $12 million when okay, go ahead.
I'll explain this perfectly, guys. Last 2 years, Daniel Jones, we did not pick up his 5th-year option. He would have made $20 million this year, $21 million. Instead, he goes and has a career year, and now we're paying 40 plus million. So there's the flip side of why sometimes, it makes sense one way or the other. And now this year, Andrew Thomas, we picked up his 5th-year option because he's a beast left tackle, and we know we're getting, we know we're getting a good deal. Whatever left tackle is, it's a good deal versus what we're going to be paying him when we have to sign him. So it's kind of a two-sided, double-edged sword where, okay, Jones hasn't proven it. Is he going to be worth $20 million? I mean, and Dave's works some magic. Boom, now he's worth $40 million. So it's a tricky situation for every team.
So, when we were talking about this earlier, we were kind of discussing like who is this good for and who is this bad for, and I was really kicking this around in my mind, and it's like it's good for it's good for team management, it's good for the ownership of the teams. I think it's good for league officials, but I think that it's a way to manipulate the salary cap, which I think is bad for fans. I think it's bad for the leagues, and it's certainly bad for the players. Because so you brought up Daniel Jones. It's a great example. I think New York mismanaged that contract by not giving him the 5th-year option. He has a career season, then he cashes out. So happy story for him, but because it's the team mismanaged that contract. But I'm looking at the list right now, the players that were just extended this year. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tristan Wirfs, Jerry Jeudy, AJ Terrell, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. These are premier players who should be getting huge contracts. And so because they exercise this 5th-year option, it keeps them on the same teams, and it makes the league. I think it's an inequitable practice for the league when it comes to like, why would we have a salary cap if it can just be manipulated like that?
I will say once they do pick up that 5th option, if they're a stud, they're usually reworking a new contract before they're actually going to get paid that 5th-year option. So it is a salary cap thing. And the player's not typically going to get screwed, but injuries, they can happen anytime.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and that's what I would say. It's like, it's kind of like a team by team, player by player basis, but then it's kind of like you miss the mark this way, then oh my God, you have to pay for it this way. And if you miss the mark, or if you pick it up and then you miss the mark there, then you miss it this way. So I feel like sometimes you can get screwed as a player and or as an owner, like both ways. But I'm with Gobes. I just don't. It's almost like you're, as a player, you're like punished for being a first rounder then, because instead of them saying, hey, we have to give this guy a deal to keep him, no, we can just sign that, blah blah. And then if he gets hurt this time or this year, then we don't have to give him any, like a 40 million. If Daniel Jones would have got hurt this year, I mean, what would happen? You wouldn't have gave him that money.
I don't feel any more clarity on this issue, gentlemen.
Yeah,
He would have got the 20 million though. He still would have got the 20 million.
but he wouldn't have got 100 or 160.
That's what I'm.
He wouldn't have gotten
That's what I'm
contract,
saying.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think Gobo's on the right path where it's a manipulation tactic for franchises to keep superstars on their roster without having to pay superstar prices.
Yeah, so that's why you try to win a Super Bowl in a whatever little
Then
window.
you have someone that's like borderline all-star level, like Jordan Brooks has been. But you're like, we're getting Bobby Wagner for $5 million. We're not going to guarantee you $12 million to come back off an injury season. So I mean,
yeah. I think the only real benefit that I see to it is for guys like us, where we need a barometer of like which rookies are turning out. Because if you look at the options declined, you can kind of see issues with those players, and it's kind of a good barometer of like which players are kind of standout options. And I mean, maybe it's good for the players and it gives them leverage the following season to negotiate a higher contract. It's like, oh look, my previous team exercised the 5th-year option. So I mean, you think about it from a business perspective, and it's just like from an asset liability standpoint, it's like it's very rarely going to be an asset for the players.
Right. Yeah. So in their regard, it's kind of dumb. I mean, it sucks. Right. Especially the ones taking the beating. All right. I mean,
we could beat this into the ground, but move on.
Yeah.
Rules of draft. Yeah.
The Kraken just scored 3 goals in 52 seconds.
Outstanding. I hate the Dallas Stars. So,
all right. So what's up next? The draft. The fucking draft.
The NFL draft. So we finally got some football. All of us, I know, were juiced up to watch the draft. We watched, trades happen, all these crazy things. Overall, I had a really good time. G-Man Jazz came down. We watched all 3 rounds together. We went to the bar with some friends, watched the first round, and the next 2 we just kind of, Then we were geeking out watching YouTube videos. So you guys should definitely, if you're on YouTube, like you are watching NFL, go look up your players, look at their highlights in college. So
I love that I'm not the only person who does that.
you're like, wow, what a stud. Yeah, he's a stud. So with that, I mean, we'll just start
Overall
going.
thoughts.
What are your overall thoughts?
What are yours?
My overall thoughts.
Not of your team, but like the draft in general.
The draft process. Well, first of all, Kansas City. Wow, that's awesome. Close to home. They
did a nice job.
Their fans, although Dames Marv's, doesn't really like any of their fans, but they seem like they were having a good time at Kansas City. I had a few friends.
They weren't having to read anything.
Yeah, that's true.
210,000 people showed up over 3 days.
That's cool. That's cool. Good. So good for Kansas City. I just thought, there were some trades that were crazy. It was a little exciting. Like the beginning of the draft was crazy. The end of the, first round, yours just kind of like, is anybody going to trade up, do all these things? And then just I thought it was just fun. I guess.
Dude, I had a blast. I thought it was amazing. Kansas City did an amazing job hosting this thing, putting it together. I love that no matter where they go, Goodell gets booed every time he takes the stage, and he loves it, or maybe he hates it personally, but he's embraced it and he knows it's coming. So I always love to see that. I love it when they include other people to announce the picks of some significance. It just adds an extra layer of special, because you'll remember like when that player was drafted, that little girl who survived cancer, whatever, had that moment. But yeah, I think the draft was an older person's game to me. I like when I was a younger football fan, I would just like, yeah, we drafted. I would never care to tune in. But the older I get, the more I'm like, I know, because I watch college football also, and I see these kids grow up over the course of time, and it's just fun to watch it all come to fruition. And I don't know about you guys, but you guys go to YouTube. I go to Twitter, and I go to the team feeds, and I watch them call the GMs calling the player before they tell them. And I love it. I love it. Every time the kid breaks down, he's like, oh my God, thank you for picking me. I love it. That's one of my favorite things. So I have 1,000 of those video clips on my.
Which player was it when he got drafted and his girlfriend tried to grab his phone and he immediately snatched it back? Do you remember that clip? It might have been Justin.
Remember Russell
Justin Jefferson.
Or his wife at the time.
I know. I love those type of moments. Justin Fields, when the Bears drafted him, he just looked pissed. He was just like, he was not making a face at all. And they just sit there sitting on him. And he's like, yep, I'm going to Chicago. Like, I was
they
like,
play the Curb the Enthusiasm music, just.
Yeah, and dude, somebody should have been like, dude, if you play well there for 5 years, you'll have every quarterback record they ever had. Like, you will be the number one quarterback in the history. If you play good your rookie contract, you will be the number one quarterback.
Yeah, they'll make a fucking statue out of you in Chicago. Yeah,
exactly.
So my thoughts on the draft, I think the league is going to be interesting these next couple of years because I think there's a lot of really good developmental prospects this year. A lot of quarterbacks. What did we get? 4 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks or something like that. So I think it's going to be a historic year. It's going to shape a lot of these teams, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I actually I was moderating a meeting for work during the first round, and so I was just angrily watching the picks roll in on my phone.
Wow.
G-Man?
Yeah, my draft experience was pretty good. Dames, we got to eat some crow watching the receivers fall. I mean, I won't name a specific one, but as they all fell, I was sitting there. My draft experience was going awesome, and then boom, 4 went in a row, and it was crazy. And the whole draft was kind of a playoff last year's draft where Purdy went last in the draft, and somebody said it best. It was the Purdy effect, where I think there were 14, 15 quarterbacks drafted, some insane number of quarterbacks drafted. And you saw a lot of these 7th round, 6th round undrafted guys getting drafted in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I really think it has a lot to do with, Brock Purdy. But otherwise, great time, great draft. And all of our teams got a lot of new young guys that hopefully can do what they do in college and the pros.
Yep. All right. So there are our thoughts. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. Some cool things that happened. Maybe you like your team was amazing, or maybe you were like the Packers and you drafted a quarterback. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
Throw the shade. They deserve it.
NFHell, dude. This is
NFHell.
2 tight ends.
Yep, good tight ends.
Another good one. Not the tight end I wanted. Yeah. We're good.
Still talking football. Okay. All right. We're going to look to Gobo here. He's got a list of all the picks. He's going to start going through them. We're going to give our thoughts, comments. Again, play along at home. Comment below. Tell us who you liked, who you didn't like, what teams you thought did. Maybe you want to give draft grades. Let's hear it. Gobo.
First overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama.
Which no one was surprised with.
Duh.
We're all good with it.
Hey, the Reddit crowd was a little surprised, guys.
Oh no, Reddit got
Oh, yeah,
something
you're
wrong.
too-
I can't believe it.
I don't think
I was
there's any
try-
surprise there, but the thing to watch is his height going to be a problem, and did they make the wrong choice? That's
They
the big
did.
thing to look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. All right. Yep.
I don't think so. I think the Panthers are still trash, but I think he's the best option at quarterback. He reminds me of a young Russ Wilson. So until he goes to the Broncos in whatever 15 years, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. They got some good receivers there too. All right, number 2.
Number 2, the Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, quarterback, Ohio State.
Now, I'm going to go first on this one because
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
I specifically said on last week's show, I said, if they draft Will Anderson at number 2 instead of CJ Stroud, they're in for a world of hurt from their fan base. And when they drafted CJ Stroud, I was like, they didn't need Will Anderson anyway. So this is good. And I was like, I love being right. And then what are your thoughts now, guys?
And then here's the deal. First of all, I don't know if it's the Ohio State thing. I mean, I feel like he's just from Ohio State, so I'm pretty much like, man, he sucks. I don't like Ohio State. Normally, Ohio State quarterbacks coming out.
Oh,
So-
quarterbacks. I was like, shut your mouth, son, about Ohio State players.
Oh no, I love Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio State quarterbacks have been
Reigning
pretty
rookie of the year.
consistently underwhelming.
Yeah, so I'm just like, my more thoughts is I don't know. I feel like, is he the answer? Can he be? I guess your guess is as good as mine. I mean, what do I know? The Jets drafted Zach Wilson. They drafted Sam Darnold. So I mean, I feel like flip a coin. I mean, one of them's got to be pretty good. So maybe this is the guy. That's my thoughts on Stroud. Anyone else got anything good about this kid?
I got something. It feels like, most years there's 2 guys. There's 1 and 2. So it's always, Manning and Leaf. It's always whoever it's been. So they always compare 1 and 2. And now this year you're throwing in Richardson and you're throwing in, well, Richardson for sure. And it almost seems like they're not comparing 1 and 2 like they typically hype that. So I think that's because maybe none of them are a 1, but maybe they're all 2s, maybe they're all mid-level quarterbacks. Time will tell, but it's interesting how they're not quite comparing it 1 and 2 like they usually do.
Yeah.
Before I move on, I just want to expound on that, what you just said there, because there's a lot of truth there. Like I said, this is the draft for me is an older man's game. When I was young, I would have listened to the media and I'm like, we have to have one of those 2 quarterbacks. This year, I was like, please do not let one of those fuckers slip down to us and us take them. I was like, this is not who we want. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I love what you just said there because there's a lot of truth in that. And I think the teams that were desperate for a quarterback, they had to take one. And that's why I just knew that, Houston was like, we got to.
I like your guys' takes on this. I think that, it's in the 1-2 quarterbacks, one of them is going to be a bust. And it has consistently been Ohio State quarterbacks that underperform in the pros. So, Stroud, from a logistics standpoint, he looks great, but I just think he's going to get to Houston. He's going to get that starting role and he's going to tank.
I just want to say before we move to pick 3, Drew Bledsoe, Rick Myrer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know,
I feel like, people are like, yep.
Andrew Luck, RG3. Ooh.
Oh, all right. Texans, crazy. This is it, right? This is the crazy.
With the 3rd pick, the Texans trade up to select Will Anderson Jr. off outside linebacker, Alabama.
Dang.
We got them both.
To me, this is the biggest. I was like, why is no one making a big deal about this? Is like a fucking, if you watch that movie Draft Day, this is like more of a ridiculous scenario than that movie was.
Right.
And it happened in real life. And I'm sitting there like, why is no one like fucking flipping out about? They just got their number one guy for quarterback and the number 1 guy for defense. Like, this is amazing. And I'm like,
Right.
I wish that I didn't know V at this point, because all I'm going to hear about for the next 6 months is how they won the draft with these 2 picks. I got over it as time went on, but initial shock of that was like when I heard that they were trading out of that, I was like, we got Will Anderson. And then all of a sudden they're like, Houston. I'm like, no, Houston already has a quarterback.
They just picked.
I was
They
like,
just,
no,
is this an error? Is this an
no.
error?
So here's my problem with that fucking movie Draft Day, for one, because it's a love letter not only to the NFL league offices, which, you know, suck it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's a love letter to the fucking Cleveland Browns, like one of the most immoral, shitty franchises in the NFL. And it's just like, you know, a franchise who's never been to the Super Bowl, even though they've been a team for like, you know, 60 years. Anyways,
And what
but
team
yeah,
did they fleece? What team did they fleece in that movie?
did they fleece them? They traded up for a pick and then picked a player they could have gotten with their original fucking pick. It was ridiculous.
But it was the Seahawks that they fleeced.
Yeah, anybody who understands football should understand why it's a bad movie.
Right. Right.
You know, as a fan of football and movies, it pissed me off on both fronts.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like the Texans, whether we agree with these two, the quarterback, whatever, they have to be excited. VT has to be, but you literally just had, I mean, if that was the Jets and I'm like, oh my God, we drafted them. Like, you would be going
died, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'd be like,
Show from your
NFL.
hospital.
This in reality, even though Stroud is probably not going to play out, it wasn't a bad pick. Will Anderson was a good pick though, and so they actually used their picks to pick players that they would have had to trade up for. So it made more sense than that stupid movie.
This
Right.
guy's a monster, guys. He had like 17 and a half sacks, 34 and a half tackles for loss or something in 1 year. Like D'Amico Ryans, yeah, he's in heaven.
Anderson's a stud, but here's why he's not going to be good until the Texans get rid of him. Jadeveon Clowney.
yeah. And that's
But
kind
he-
of,
That was like the best defenseman like ever in the history of the NCAA. Goes to the Texans and gets like nothing remarkable.
Well, he went viral, so everyone thought he was better than he was because he had one big sweet tackle, kind of like Odell's little one-handed catch went to his head. I think Clowney thought he was great after everyone was talking about that or something because yeah, he turned out to be garbage.
right.
Garbage.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Number 4, the Indianapolis Colts select Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Florida.
Was anybody shocked by this? I thought
Not
Will
at all.
Levis is their guy all day long.
I was happy. I was so happy. We thought Levis too. I was like, if they take Richardson, I think that's a bolder move just because we were talking about like his ceiling is so high. He's so raw. You watch speaking of YouTube videos, go on, watch his. I mean, this kid is like, he could be something special. You know, he's going to need to develop behind Minshew. Gardner Minshew will probably get the start, they're saying.
Yeah, for 3 weeks.
Yep. About halfway through the season, they'll bring him in. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love the pick. I like Irsay's go get him on this one because again, like I say, flip a coin with quarterbacks. I mean, like people can say if they're first rounders, second, it doesn't really matter. I don't think
He's good. He's not good enough to make the Colts good, but he's good enough to get the start. So
Yeah.
I think you put him in there with JT and you run an offense kind of like the Giants were running with Jones and Saquon and the Bears. Once we ran over them, that Fields did it. I mean, if you run with Richardson and JT and you run that similar, run option and Pete Carroll himself, great Pete Carroll said, this is the most athletic quarterback ever. So I think the upside is worth a 3 pick for a Colts franchise that, hasn't had any luck with their quarterback situation in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
Right.
yeah, really
All right.
taking us to the
Throwback
map.
Peyton Manning.
Anyways, number 5.
Pick 5.
We can skip this one.
O-line.
Seattle Seahawks select
Oh,
Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, Illinois.
Dame.
So,
Somebody.
okay, I didn't talk much about this guy because I didn't think he would go this high.
Right.
He was on my board, but he was way farther down. And when you guys started giving me shit about it, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go look. And I went to YouTube immediately, and I was like, and then I started looking at some statistics. I was like, dude, this is actually
Beast.
what I know about Seattle picks is you can never you can have an entire board of what you think they need and address everything, and you're never going to be right. You're never, and we'll save that for later because, yeah. But anyway,
Right.
I was very floored by this pick, but I love it because we already have two really good corners. And when you throw this guy in the mix with the three safeties that we have, dude, I mean,
Yeah.
that second and third line of defense is going to be, I mean, you're not going to throw on us. They ran on us all day last year, but so we had to address that at some point. But
Down.
I'm going to throw on these guys though.
Yeah. I'm down. I
Shout,
thought-
sorry. Go. Yeah,
You're
I'll say.
good, man.
So shout out to Illinois' defensive coordinator last year, my high school quarterback, Ryan Walters, who is now the head coach of the Purdue Boilermakers. But yeah, Illinois had a wicked defense last year. So I kind of like this pick. I was hoping Seattle would muff this pick. I think this is a good fit.
Yeah. Makes you so much.
Well, let's talk. They were supposed to take Jalen Carter. They were the first team that was supposed to take him. And a lot of like Mel Kiper's like, wow, oh my God, what a failure.
Well, yeah, because Pete Carroll can help him. Blah blah blah. Well, maybe he can't. Maybe that's why I didn't take him. Like, yeah.
So
'cause he-
basically, yeah, if Mel Kiper says it's a bad pick, it's going to be a.
Did you
he's
guys
gonna be-
hear Jalen Carter
all-star.
talk pre-draft? Did you hear him speak?
no.
Mhm.
If you did, you would have been like, I don't want that guy on my team. He sounds dumb.
Right. And yeah, the NFL, you got to be smart, man. You got to.
Wow.
All right, anyway.
Jalen or Witherspoon?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter. Okay, yeah. I was like, Witherspoon seems like a decent enough guy.
Oh, yeah. He's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome.
Plus, I don't like players, being involved with the law right before the draft. It's usually
Not
not.
usually a great sign.
Yeah, not a good sign.
Well, and sometimes, dames, they might not be smart on everything else they do, but they get on the field and they can read a playbook and play. So, it's worth the risk for who ended up.
Cortez
It's
Kennedy.
worth, it's worth the risk for who ended up taking
Has
him,
that?
which-
But has that ever been worth the risk? I mean, it's just like, let's look at players who have entanglements with the law and always play like Plaxico Burress from.
Hey, Super Bowl, we got one.
And then what did he do after that?
You ruined our 10-1 or whatever we were when he shot his dick.
Yeah, when he
Thanks,
fucking shot
thanks,
himself
Plax.
and got
Shot
arrested.
himself.
Yeah. But yeah, like Pac-Man Jones, like probably one of the most prolific cornerbacks in the NFL, goes to a strip club and some people died.
Yeah.
Ray Rice, Ruggs. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's like character issues. I mean,
Yep. So I kind of see. All right, let's move on. Pick.
Anyways, number 6, Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, Ohio State for the Cardinals.
Well, they need
everything.
Yeah, they need
So,
everything.
I was happy with this pick because that guy's not going to do anything to us to make us lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
he's going to be protecting a quarterback that is going to run out of the pocket. So, I mean, it could be a guy that could catch a ball down the field, could run it, or could intercept it or do something. He's not going to do anything to us. So I love the pick.
I mean, never discount a good offensive lineman though.
Yep. Good point. Bill.
Yeah. I mean, Kyler Murray can't make it through a season, so new offense. Maybe they'll try to keep him in the pocket, and they obviously need to protect him. So the more offensive,
He's a stud.
I can't tell you anybody else that the Cardinals selected. So yeah, we'll see. With the current offensive regime, a tackle is not going to fix their problems.
Yep. All right, moving on.
Number 7. This was a good pick. Tyree Wilson, defensive end, Texas Tech, goes to the Raiders. That one is spicy. Yeah, Tyree is a fucking monster, and he's going into a division where offensive line is consistently an issue for at least 2 of the teams.
Yeah, and he gets on the other side of Crosby.
and he's going with Mad Max. Exactly.
That's the big thing, dude. You can only double team one of those guys, and they both are gonna need it. So Patrick Mahomes is gonna be running for his life. Russell's it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah,
Watch
yep.
out for the Raiders, man. That's
Good job,
they're gonna
yeah.
have an interesting defense.
Yep. All
All right, number 8. Here's another fun pick. The Atlanta Falcons pick Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. James, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, Dave, what's up?
This is unbelievable. This is not only a reach. I mean, he's great, but at 8 overall,
A running back?
and
Yeah,
the team-
I'm with you.
I mean, that's
It's not a longevity
they ran
pick
more
for
than
sure.
anybody last year, but still, like, this is just a bad pick. It's not.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
This is a 4 or 5 year pick because he's going to get the 5th year option if he survives all that. He's going to be good. Franchise
I
him.
don't know if anybody's going to survive running the ball for the Falcons.
Very similar to the Saquon thing, and they got Algier, they got Patterson. So what are they going to do? Run the ball as much as possible because they don't have quarterback.
I mean, yeah. But again, every year there's weird things that happen. So maybe the Falcons. I don't know. Anyway,
I
move
mean,
on.
if he comes out and he's the next Adrian Peterson, I mean, they didn't win any playoff games, but the fans will
I
enjoy
was
it.
like, he could be a good fantasy pickup.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
Number 9, the Philadelphia Eagles trade up and they take the troubled young Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia.
This is where the risk is worth the reward. You go to the Super Bowl, you have a great defense, you got a bunch of leaders, get him in there, and maybe they can get him to see the light and mature up, and then they potentially got a steal. So I hate this pick because the upside is there, but like you said, history says maybe he's not in the league in 3 years. So
I honestly, I completely agree with you. I think that if there was going to be a team to pick it has to be a team that doesn't need him. And the Eagles, they don't need him. So if it doesn't work out, terminate his contract, move on, and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. And the upside is huge because they have
Right.
that veteran leadership. They can, like I said, mold him, put him under their wing. He doesn't have to come in and like, oh my God, he needs 15 set. No, he can come in and learn the system, learn the way of the league. So, you never know. Like I say, I'd like to see it turn it around. We'll see.
Here's why I like it, you guys. I like it because the guy needs extra attention, and they brought him into a team that has 4 of his other teammates on it. You realize this?
Yeah. Because
so he's going to have mentors and people that he's familiar with that can dog with him and make sure that he doesn't get into trouble. What I don't like about it is everything that you guys said before. He's unmotivated. He's bigger than he was supposed to be. Didn't show up prepared for his pro day. He's got legal issues, and they lost a pick to move up to get him. So I mean, the risk was bigger than just 9th pick overall. It's like you gave up a 3rd round pick. Like,
right.
That's Russell Wilson. That's any great player that's been drafted in the 3rd round. I mean, there's a ton of them. Like Kirk Cousins was not that he's great, but he's been a sustainable quarterback for many years in the NFL. So I don't know, man. Like the tail is out, but they did lose a couple pieces on defense. If this is one that turns out for them, good for them because it has to work out for that to be a good pick for them.
I mean, like you said, there's that many other ex-teammates there. They got the pipeline, so they should know at least how he is around them. And I don't know. I mean,
I could tell you some horror stories about Georgia defenders from last year, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't think the Eagles are going to have egg on their face on this one. Honestly, I think that if it works out, they're going to look like geniuses. If it doesn't, it's not that big of a deal.
Super Bowl hangover. That's all I'm saying. Super Bowl hangover.
Super Bowl hangover. All right, at the 10th pick, Chicago Bears select Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee.
Get Bears. Yep, the protecting field. I mean,
they need
smart.
it.
I hate this pick because I wanted the Packers to get him. Bakhtiari is not getting any younger, and man, Jordan Love needs a blindside tackle. So Darnell Wright would have fit right into our scheme, but of course the fucking Bears had to get him.
All right, and on to 12.
NFHell number 11. Another guy that I was hoping the Packers would snag. Peter Skronsky, offensive tackle from Northwestern. Midwest, and that goes to the Titans. Midwestern guy, good solid tackle. Could be going to be a starter for the Titans this year.
Solid pick.
Solid
And
pick.
starter. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
plug and play anywhere he goes, dude.
Yep. That's a good pick. I mean, that's what they need. Run the ball, Derrick Henry.
You know, offensive line gets no love. We get the offensive line picks. Next guy.
Next guy.
I mean, it's not flashy, but it's necessary. So yeah.
Well, this next pick is fun. The Detroit Lions move up and select Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama, for no fucking reason.
Dude,
To trade Swift. That's the
Trade Swift.
even then, that trade is not guaranteed to happen. They're just like, okay, now we can put him on the block. But what are you doing? That's
Right.
like the position you are most stacked at. And you are on the cusp of becoming a really good team.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you thinking?
We need a Lions fan on this
Like,
show.
I laughed out loud, dude. Are there any left?
I have a buddy who's a
Right.
Lions fan. We'll have him hopefully comment below, and he can be like, "W." He was texting me. He's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "You're a Lions
Literally,
fan."
the Lions could have landslid that fucking division this year. I don't trust them. At this point, I'm
Right.
like, the Lions might, like, they're not going to make the playoffs. There's no chance. Like, how they're wasting talent again.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna bring up
Packers
a
could
name
win the
here.
division.
I'm gonna bring up a name here that I thought they were going to take Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. I was like, that would make them scary on offense.
Yeah, they'd have a
I was
receiver.
like, God damn it. And I said that like 3 picks in a row. I was
They
like,
could have taken Jigba. They could have taken what's his
Anybody.
name? Jordan
Quentin
Addison, Zay Flowers.
Johnston.
Yeah, and then
Guys,
who's
the
tight end. They could have taken
We're
Dalton.
laughing because it's the
Like,
Lions. This is what the Lions.
Fucking
do.
Lions. It's the
any
fucking
other
Lions.
pick they could have taken.
Just anybody else. Anybody
strangest
else
thing is-
after Jahmyr Gibbs was a better pick.
the strangest thing is, yeah, they could have actually traded down,
I know. It's
picked
still-
up picks, picked up Campbell, and still got Gibbs after Campbell.
Yeah.
It's typical Lions.
Or just
Okay.
fucking play with Swift. Like, why not? He's great.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah. Now where'd he fucking go?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Lions.
Yeah, he went to the Eagles. Didn't he get traded
Yes.
to the Eagles? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes to the Eagles.
Yeah,
the
so the
Eagles get
Eagles
better again.
Yeah, he'll have a monster career year this year. All right.
And he'll be hurt anyway.
Numero-
Ruin fantasy
number
value. of like
12.
2 teams.
I don't know if you guys noticed for the 12th pick, I brought out my jerseys. Well, the green and yellow one's not mine, but it's just a little homage to this season coming up.
So with the 13th pick,
Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
we
no.
already did the 12.
Oh, look at
the champions of the frozen tundra, the namesake of the Lombardi Trophy, my pride, Green Bay Packers, make the most underwhelming pick maybe ever in the history of the first round, and take Lucas Van Ness, a suitable, acceptable defensive end from the University of Iowa.
We're all gonna love this pick. We're all. I mean, we're
I
all.
do love this pick.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we're from. Yeah.
You're giving him too much. He's good, dude. He's gonna be a dog. He's
All right, so I have some things to say about this pick.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so the Packers are short at almost every offensive position, almost every single one. And we have no breakaway playmakers. We have no threats in our receiving core. We have an aging offensive lineman. Aside from Aaron Jones, there's not one offensive starter that I would feel could even start for another team. So we waste a pick on, like, he's not better than Devondre Campbell. He's not better than Kingsley Eagenbari. He's not better than Rashawn Gary. Like, he's not even going to be a fucking starter this year, and we wasted our first round pick on him.
And he's gonna be in the locker room rewinding this segment, listening to you say how shitty he is before every game, and he's gonna go out
Fuck
there.
it. I don't care. Go out there. Yeah. Like, go out. Yeah. Prove me wrong. I'm just some asshole I'm just some asshole on YouTube. You know what? Like, if you want to come to my house and punch me in the face, that's fine. It's your right.
Yo,
You know, but here's the thing. I don't think I'm wrong on this one. The kid is going to be a marginal starter, and we passed on the fucking whatever the guy from the Seahawks took. We passed on Dalton Ingram. Like, On Dalton Kincaid, I mean, like, I'm just, yeah, it's fucking awful. I remember like internally screaming watching this pick in my fucking meeting. And I watched these, and the first thing I did when I got home was I went to YouTube and was like, maybe I'm wrong. And I watched, he's a fucking form tackler, and he's like sort of fast. That's it. What's his upside?
I mean, you're going to be a consistent, maybe Pro Bowl player for 10 to 15 years at a position. I mean, I feel like he, he could be a Pro Bowl, which, is going to help other players around him get better. I understand your frustration, but here's the deal. This is partially probably the reason that Aaron Rodgers left, because they don't help out. Like, dude, you finally, now you have Love on that. We got the best receiver on the board. Nah, we don't. Yes, you're, it's like, or pick anyone, like you say. Right. Going to be on the offensive side of the ball.
Like what's he gonna? He's gonna take away Preston Smith's starting job? Like, no fucking way. NFHell. Anyways, 14. We're done talking about Lucas Van Ness. Number 14, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Broderick Jones, which would have also been a better pick for the Packers. Offensive tackle from Georgia.
They traded up here right in front of me. Rumor has it this is who the Jets were targeting at 15. So he must be pretty good if a team wants to jump us to get him. So
good.
Georgia's a good college football team. I imagine there's
yeah, right. And they have a young quarterback they want to protect.
Yeah.
Great job for O-line.
Yep.
We got 4 or 5 off the board in the first 15.
Team, that's like historically watching the draft, offensive line has become gradually more and more valuable as time goes on. And it's because exactly that you have to protect your talent.
Right. Yeah. You're paying your quarterback.
It's like that movie, The Blind Side. When you buy a house, what's the first thing you do? You got to buy insurance. And, you get your quarterback, then you got to get the insurance to protect it.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. And a lot of teams still don't know that. Apparently the Packers are one of those teams.
Oh, you're not wrong.
So,
but I also hate that movie.
Right. Yeah. Okay. This is going to spin off into a movie review.
Into a why GOBO hates football movies.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the clock.
Number 15. The New York Jets just end the season Jets select Will McDonald IV, offensive outside linebacker from Iowa State.
Right. And he's more of a D end. The Jets are going to play him in a 9 technique on the outside. A lot of his stuff on the inside, he would, be rubbing up against other linemen. One key stat, he does hold the Big 12 record for most sacks in a career, tied with none other than Von Miller. Not that that means he's going to be Von Miller, but I feel like there has to be something said where you're playing for an Iowa State Cyclone team and and you end up leading the conference of all time, sack leader. So a lot of people said maybe it was a little bit of a reach, but I'm a Joe Douglas guy. I like his style of drafting where our top guy on our board next up is who we take. So, defense, pin him back, Salah's ready to go. Our defense is only going to be better, which it was already PFF ranked numero uno last year. So I love the pick. I watched a boatload of highlights on him. He has really good bend. He can get around the edge. I mean, sky's the limit. We got Quinnen on the inside. So any edge rushers we have are just going to be able to go one-on-one.
It's amazing the talent you can pick up when you use free agency to fill all the gaps in your team.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jets are going to be a good team this year.
Yeah. Right. Anybody else have anything to say to J-Test? G-Man?
I do. What's up with Iowa State players coming in and being good lately? Let's see if this guy can keep it up. But like you said, he's got time to sit back and only get pass rush snaps. So coming in waves.
Yeah, we're using the old Aaron Rodgers. Hey, we might actually have leads in the fourth quarter, so we can come after their quarterback. Get a little more aggressive when you're up 2-3 scores in a game, which we've never had. So I feel like this is taken from the 49ers kind of playbook where that's what they did when Salah was there with Bosa and their DNs. They would just get after the quarterback. So anyway, I'm happy with it. 16.
Washington Commanders take Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback, Mississippi State.
James, what do you think about the stupidest name in football?
Emmanuel Forbes is a great name. I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, that is a really good name.
That's a good football name.
Yeah, that is. Too bad he plays for a crappy team.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Mississippi State corner. If I'm correct, yeah, he's Mississippi State corner.
Mississippi State, yeah.
He flashed brilliance, dude. And quite honest, they're a team that could use just about anything. So I'm guessing this was the highest person left on their board. And that's why they grabbed him. And that makes perfect sense to me at 16.
Yep. And
You need about everything. So
yep, I agree. So right now, comment below. We're about halfway through. Again, thanks for hanging in. NFL, we're just going through all the picks of the draft. Tell us about your team. We know we got some viewers out there. Tell us what you thought, what you're thinking. Go ahead. 117. Garrett Wilson.
17. Christian Gonzalez, who the Commanders probably should have taken, cornerback from Oregon. I think he's probably the best cornerback in the draft. I think that he even rivals Witherspoon. So I think that's a great pick for the Patriots, which I hate because I hate the Patriots. But yeah,
I watched him a lot in college because I'm a Pac-10, Pac-12 guy. And I would have loved to have him too. Now that we have Witherspoon, I don't know that I would take him over Witherspoon, but I definitely was like, and I definitely don't think I would have picked him at 5. So maybe that's my distinguisher there. But here's the thing. I kind of felt that they were going to go this route, and I'm like, it just brought me back to Patrick Chung. And I know that they love Oregon players, and I kind of saw this like unfolding, and he should have been off the board by then. So for the fact that he's there at 17, great pick for them.
Yep.
But I will say this. I was shitting my pants because I'm like, Mac Jones is a good quarterback. He's not your problem. Your problem is he has no weapons, and they had literally 4 that they could have given him right there, and they didn't do it. So I was like,
it's a value pick, though.
Right, and a lot, and I will say, and again, I'm a Jets fan, so obviously I'm going to talk some shit about the Patriots, but a lot of people always talk about Belichick and his genius and all this, but if you look at their track record of drafting, they are not that good of a drafting team. They'll have players for a few years. They don't pan out. They'll we'll see this year.
That's also part of his coaching strategy. He's not wanting to give up second contracts. He's wanting to play with the young guys that they draft and not having to pay anybody. So,
and Belichick obviously comes from a defensive background, coaching the great Lawrence Taylor, and he's going to pick defensive players. And like you said, you can draft one Tom Brady, and you can hit fucking no more home runs the rest of your life, and it doesn't matter because you drafted Tom Brady. So.
Yeah. In the 6th round.
Right, I know. But I'm just saying, as they're continuing now post Tom Brady, they're not looking too good. They're not looking too good. I feel like they're doing this.
I love that a Jets fan is saying this about
you guys. You think the Patriots are on the rise? We can talk about this. We'll talk about this later. We got to keep moving.
I was like, yeah, Patriots still probably the worst team in that division, but
yeah,
that's a good pick.
That's a great thing to hear. The Patriots are the worst team in the division. What the? Okay.
Number 18, Detroit Lions select Jack Campbell, inside linebacker from Iowa, another Iowa guy. I don't know.
This kid's a stud, man. I thought he would be available for Seattle at 37. So I kind of feel like this is a reach. But I can't say that they're getting a bad player. They need him. He's fucking fast, line to line. He's tall, and he's good in coverage. So, those are really good things that you want out of a linebacker. And he's got he checks all those boxes. To me, he was 1 or 2 best linebacker in the draft.
Yeah.
The thing about him, and I'm a Hawks fan, and he is a good linebacker. I do agree where 18 is high. He doesn't, and maybe he wasn't asked to, I guess, as much, but he's not making any plays in the backfield. He's more of a,
Coverage.
wait and react kind of guy in coverage. So to draft someone like that at 18, Seems like a reach, just like their other pick. So another loss for the Lions. He could be a good player for a long time, but I don't think he gets to the all-pro level.
Yep, Lions taking it down.
The Lions are terrible again. I love it. 19.
All right.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Kalijah Cansey, defensive tackle from Pittsburgh.
Kalia Cansey.
I mean, see, I would say they have a lot of needs as well. And I think Todd Bowles, defensive mind. I mean, I feel like he's always going to start with that probably D-line defense. You know, that's where you win games in the trenches.
Wow.
So
Everyone talks about the Brady trade, but that defensive line won the Bucs the Super Bowl.
oh yeah. And didn't McCoy just
when you can't run the ball, it's pretty easy to call defensive plays.
Yep.
So
Yep. All right.
Yep. Tampa. 20 Jackson Smith and Jigba. 21. 20. Dames.
Dude,
Talk about your new toy.
so there's footage out there of my reaction to this pick.
You want to post a link below, maybe?
Maybe if my brother has it and he's not too embarrassed.
Okay. All right. We should.
But I was talking this guy up for months coming into the draft, and I've been a Seattle Seahawks fan for my entire life. I've never once predicted a pick of ours, and I just kept saying I'm starting to get in the mentality of Pete and John. They don't care like what Mel Kiper says. They don't care what they're looking for an attitude in a player.
Right.
They're looking for a skill set, obviously, but they're also looking for like a type of dude that's going to fit in with the other dudes that are there.
Yeah.
And I saw this kid, you know, he was there through Olave. He was there through Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. And they're saying that he might be the best of the four of them. And that to me is a mind-blowing possibility. I don't know that that's going to happen. I obviously wish it would happen, but coming into a situation where you have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, a guy that just broke records at Seattle quarterback, getting a third weapon like that, this guy is always open. That's the thing. Like, everybody says, always open. And
Garrett Wilson says he's better than him himself. So, I mean,
we're looking for a guy like that. And for me to have said it, well, not only on this show, but in every conversation I've ever had, everybody's like, there's no way he drops to 20, dude. There's just no way. And I agreed. I thought there was viably 5 teams that should have taken him with their pick. And I still feel that way. And it starts with who was right before Packers. Yeah. The Lions should have taken him.
oh yeah, the Lions again had a chance to take us.
Fucking Packers should have taken him too.
Packers should have taken him. Steelers could have taken him. The Jets, that would have been ridiculous.
I mean, I was hoping the Jets. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
Washington could have taken. I thought he was definitely
Patriots could take. Yeah,
coming back to Patriots and Detroit again. I was like, there's no way he's making it through here. And when he did, I was like, I'm gonna be so fucking bummed if we don't pick this guy. And I have no connection to our front office whatsoever.
right.
And I'm sitting on my couch, and my brother's got the phone on me, and I just flipped out, dude. Curse word. Celebration. It was amazing. Like, this is my dream.
I'm
it's
excited.
A great pick. Seattle's scary this year.
Yep, I agree. Seattle's a good draft.
At this point, I'm like, I know I said last week the 49ers are probably their only competition. I don't think they have any competition left in that division. Anyway, 22. The Chargers take Quentin Johnston, wide receiver, TCU.
I think this is just go ahead.
Go ahead, G-Man. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is just Mike Williams 2.0. I don't know if they're ready to move on from Mike Williams here. What is he, year 3, year 4 by now? And keep Keenan Allen, who I feel is much older, but he's a different style receiver. Big, nice pick, but I'm not sure what they're doing with 2 big guys like that. Typically teams don't have that. So we'll see if they move on from Mike Williams, and it's not too bad. Giving Herbert some weapons.
Right, and that's what I would say. That's the biggest thing for me is like giving your guy another weapon. That's going to be I mean, Herbert's the man. I feel like, again, we said this last year, but Herbert coming into this year, I feel like should be up.
Herb is not the problem on the LA. I almost called him San Diego on the Chargers. Yeah, they. I mean, you definitely have some issues you want to address on defense, but on paper, their defense should be fine. But they just weren't last year.
So this is what blows my mind about this pick. I think teams saw a wide receiver go off the board and like, oh fuck, we better get on it because they're going to start going now. And this, to me, this run of players should have happened like 6 picks earlier. This exact run of players, maybe not in this order, but these guys should have gone.
I'm with you on that
at that point. So I think there was a little bit of freak out nature for some teams, and I feel really bad that it ended right before the Giants got the pick. And I know we'll get there, but that's what all I was thinking was like. But I also think Quentin Johnson at this pick, he would have been my 4th choice of the 4. That's all.
Right.
Anyways,
yeah. I mean, we're good. Go ahead, Gobes.
23. Baltimore Ravens take Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Boston College. Getting Lamar some more weapons, and he can play with his new contract. I don't know. I think the Ravens are going to suck.
That pretty much took the D-Hop trade out of the. I mean, I'm assuming because remember when they were all speculating that he was going to be getting traded. I was like, as soon as they drafted him, I was like, well, that trade ain't happening.
Well, he's still going to go somewhere. So
is he though?
He does not want to be there. Neither does Budda Baker.
Oh my!
Those guys are both yelping.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll take him. We got cap space.
Yeah, I'll take him in New York. Like, I'll take D-Hop.
I'd take either
Hey
one.
guys, Ravens. You got Andrews, Likely, Bateman, now Flowers, Odell, Lamar, Dobbins. If he can stay healthy, like we said, if he's wearing down or not, if he's prime Lamar, man, it's on.
They were in games that division all year.
Yeah,
as it was.
You're thinking about it. It's like Cincinnati should win the division, but Cleveland is bad. And the Steelers are still kind of rebuilding. I mean, you can't factor out Mike Tomlin, but
Yep.
Above 500.
Ravens. And now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, they could make the playoffs again.
I mean, you think if Lamar Jackson is MVP Lamar Jackson, they will be, like you said, that's a stacked lineup on offense.
0 chance he's that
Just
good.
We didn't get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Right. Zay Flowers was my consolation prize, and I would have felt fine about that.
Yeah.
How old is Lockett? I mean, is this basically the Lockett replacement as well in a couple of years?
I think maybe at the end of 4 years, yeah. Because Lockett's still in his prime, and he's putting up all numbers for us. So let it be as long. I mean, the guy is. I think he's had like 75 red zone targets in the last 2 years with 0 drops. That's ridiculous.
And here's where Jordan Addison went next.
Yep. All right, Gobo next.
24 Vikings take Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC.
This guy's a dog. I thought Pete Carroll was going to go. I thought, man, they're going to pick a receiver. It's going to be this fucking homer pick, Jordan Addison. But they didn't. They did what I'm still happy. Sorry, keep going backwards, but that's all.
I mean, yeah, you're basically obviously going to be super good on the other side of Justin Jefferson. I mean, if you're a receiver and you get drafted tonight, you're just like, oh my God, I'm going to get single covered. I'm going to get I feel like that's an awesome place to go for a young receiver. I mean, they don't have Thielen anymore, so he can step right in. And I mean, I feel like that was a need for the Vikings. So they didn't. The thing is the Vikings, especially you Viking fans out there, you didn't you did not get your pick in. I mean, I'm going to say that till the day I die. Like, that was the dumbest, funniest thing. It happened twice.
2002?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mike Tice.
Good job, bud.
Mike Tice. So anyway, I like this pick with the Vikings. You guys.
Good pick. They needed another receiver. Yeah.
All right.
And I believe Jordan Addison was the Biletnikoff the year prior to, Jalen Hyatt winning it this year.
Interesting. All right. 25. G-Man. You guys, the New York Football Giants take Deontay Banks, cornerback from Maryland.
Guys, this pick was, obviously the same as picking this low. I didn't watch a lot of film on DBs, so when I saw the pick, I immediately went to YouTube, started reading, looking, and the first three corners that went, they were kind of in a tier of their own in evaluation. And then this next guy, Deontay Banks, is kind of in a tier in his own from a couple different people I listened to. This guy had one play over 30 yards his senior season allowed, and no one ever had over 50 yards on him in a game in his career. And he had a 42-inch vertical, of 10'6" broad jump, and a 4.35 or something crazy. So this guy was like 99 on the athletic ability, played at Maryland. Marvin Harrison Jr., he battled with him. Harrison Jr. did get him a couple times. Other than that, he was pretty solid. So good pick, great athlete. He'll be our number 2 corner day one.
Well, I mean, hey, that fills a need. I feel like if you're in the draft and you feel a need, that's half of that. All right.
Maybe not the most bold pick, but a solid one.
Right, yeah.
All right. Number 26, player I wanted the Packers to pick. Dalton Kincaid, the tight end from Utah, goes to the Buffalo Bills, and I think this is an absolute value pick right here.
They traded up, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's a stud.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Kincaid within the next 5-6 years could be the best tight end in the NFL.
Yep, you have Josh Allen. I mean, Knox is kind of getting up. I feel like, they're going to be moving on, or maybe they're running 2 tight ends. I don't know. But, hey, giving Josh Allen more weapons again, and, that's just going to – the Bills are just really, really good already.
He's a dynamic pass catcher. Yeah, he's scary. He's a scary good player.
Great pick. Good pick.
Yeah. Number 27, Maisie Smith goes to the Cowboys, defensive tackle from Michigan.
He's a beast. Dude.
Cracker, come on.
He's a beast.
Cowboys. He is a beast, yeah.
I hate to see him go. I hate anybody going to Dallas, but
I mean, you notice how all 3 NFC East teams are going defense to battle the Eagles and what they did last year. So it's a theme.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I did not
Not to run.
Yeah, I mean that could be a good compliment. Dallas has got a pretty solid defense.
Yep. You like your picks, Cracker? Comment below. We know you're watching. We know you're listening.
Oh, there's a person named Cracker who likes that. I thought you were just like Tourette'sing out on me there.
Oh yeah. His
racial slurs, that's what
I was like, Jesus, Jails. Like, anyway.
He just guys. He loved saltine crackers growing up. His nickname's Cracker.
Yeah, and his last name is Cranhagen.
Not racial.
Starts with the K, which is also the whatever. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Anyways, NFL number 28. The Jacksonville Jaguars trade up and take Anton Harrison, offensive tackle from Oklahoma.
Protect the locks. Protect the locks.
Mm-hmm.
And that big dick's gotta, stand tall back there.
How good's he going to be this year, you guys?
I mean, in the AFC South, he's not going to be bad.
Yeah. Jaguar.
Calvin Ridley now.
Yep, right. Jaguar fans have to be pumped. I mean, they got a good coach, good quarterback, good team. Yeah, they're on that team on the rise.
This is at least the second best Jaguars team that's ever stepped on the field. Will be this next season
for sure. Right. Pumped that for them. That's cool.
Anyways,
yep.
29. Miles Murphy goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. Miles Murphy, D end from Clemson.
Dude, I believe my exact comment when this pick happened was, "The rich get richer." I mean, he should not have been there at this pick.
Yeah,
but
since I'm seeing a lot of value picks from a lot of the playoff teams last year.
I know. It's like
the rich get richer is not a terribly inaccurate statement.
Yeah.
Right.
They got Hubbard. They got Hendrickson, and now they got this guy. Yeah, so
Cincinnati is another one of those teams, just crazy good.
Right. And it's like, yeah, their offense is pretty solid. So
Yeah, and their quarterback is on a 5th-year deal.
they'll have it. They'll have him signed up before the season.
Oh my god. Anyways,
anyway.
moving on. 30. The Saints take Bryson Breesy, defensive tackle from Clemson. So yeah, Miles Murphy's teammate goes right after him.
Right. And I would say the Saints, and just like kind of thinking about, I feel like their defense was actually pretty good last year, overall. So I feel like just adding to their defense is only going to help it get a little better. They can probably manage they're probably not going to have to be on the field as much this year if they have, a quarterback who can, depending on how Derek Carr is this year, but I feel like it's better than what they had last year. So
The Saints have a potential to be fun. I think they're a fun team. I think it's kind of a plucky group, so it's like I think that they're going to win some games they're not supposed to win next year. Does that mean that they're going to be competitive? Probably not, but I think I like what's going on in New Orleans. It's a fun game.
Yeah, Nolans.
Coming into this round, I had a sneaking suspicion at 29, knowing that they just got Carr, that they were going to try and trade up and get Jackson Smith and Jigba to go along with Olave. And oh my God, then it would be fun. That team would be fun to watch. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they stayed where they did, and I'm glad that they got this guy that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
8.
I literally knew nothing. I was like, never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
And I did a lot of pre-draft coverage. I mean, I did my research. Never heard of him.
31. Philadelphia Eagles, in a shocking turn of events, take another Georgia defender, Nolan Smith, outside linebacker from the Dogs.
Yeah, the Georgia of the North or whatever. That's what they're basically going to be, the pro Georgia team, the Eagles.
Could have just went to the Packers and just thrown some green on their helmet.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I feel like it's the Eagles are getting better on defense. Yeah, they're shoring up their defense.
Dude, that makes me sad that you had 13th pick?
13th.
And you're jealous of a 31?
No, I'm not jealous.
NFHell,
I was just making fun of the fact that Georgia has the same logo as the Packers. No, I don't. I would have been upset with Nolan Smith too if they would have taken him at 13. I'm jealous of 5 other picks that happened past 20.
Right.
But yeah, no. We didn't need an edge rusher. Anyways, 32. Felix
31.
31.
Yeah, there was no 32.
31. Yeah, sorry. Felix Anudike Uzoma, a defensive end from Kansas State, stays close to home and goes to the Chiefs.
This was a stupid pick. This was a homer pick. This was we won the Super Bowl. We don't have to choose anybody. This is a replacement for Frank Clark, and it's not going to be anywhere near as good as Frank Clark. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Frank Clark's a beast, dude. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to replace him, but are you going to get any production out of him where he's first round value?
We'll bring him along, but here's the thing. This is like them going, we don't really need anybody. We're good. And that pisses me off.
I mean, they're in their defense.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Yeah.
Somebody
What college player could start for the Chiefs right now?
Right.
None of them.
Who was this guy? A D tackle?
He's a DN from Kansas State.
Okay. I mean,
I don't really think of Kansas State when I think of prolific college defenses.
I think of Tyler.
I know, but you also didn't think of Buffalo as a good place where Khalil Mack came out of. So, I mean, I'm going to say that since they win Super Bowls and they have a lot of talent on their team, I'm going to go the other way and say, obviously they do their research with their local guys. They got a lot of connections. They're going to know what kind of player and human being this is and will he fit with them? Most likely. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs on this one and say, fit, guys. Got your butt.
Oh, It's hard to question anything Chiefs related with the amount of success they've had in the last 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
is Andrew Reid still their coach? Okay, I don't give a fuck who they
Yeah,
pick.
they're fine.
Yeah.
They still got Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah. What about Eric Bieniemy? Oh wait,
Oh,
not there
Don't
anymore.
do that.
I'm going to take the same job at the dumbest anyway. All right.
All right,
Well,
so let's give our overall thoughts on our draft, and then we'll be
Okay.
done.
okay, we'll start with
You.
me. Okay, I'll go with the Jets. Now we didn't have that many picks, so I'm also going to go in with the kind of like, hey, we're trading away some picks because we got a prolific quarterback as part of a trade deal. I know he's not coming in out of college, but that's part of the draft. We got a solid D end. Say at their first round pick, we got a little running back. We took a flyer on a huge 6'7" tight end, Kuntz, with our last pick, which is kind of one of those. If it pans out, holy shit, he'll be like a beast because he's basically the tallest. He's literally, I think, one of the tallest players in the league, and his catch radius is like ginormous. So that could be a huge upside. We already do have a couple tight ends, but again, depth. Adding, one of those players who maybe comes in and does something let no one would think it would be awesome. And then we got offensive line because, we need to shore that up. I feel like the Jets, I feel like this is the first time in my life where we had a draft where it was like, we weren't like, oh my God, we have to get this position. It was kind of like, let's let the draft board play out. Trust it. I mean, Joe Douglas, we all know, drafted the defensive and offensive rookie of the year last year. I mean, that doesn't happen by chance. I think that's just some skill. So I personally just trust in our GM and our coach. And like Dames, you were saying earlier, I feel like the Jets are getting the right types of players, as in human beings, off the field, on the field, in the community. They're all hanging out as we speak. Aaron Rodgers is at a Knicks game with Sauce. So we're getting
the Rangers game the other night.
Yeah, and he was at the Rangers game the other night. So it's kind of like, we're getting these guys in. Aaron Rodgers, who's a vet. Now that gets us to pull in these free agents, people wanting to play.
The bald dude with the big muscles in your drafting.
Fala.
That guy.
That's a head coach.
He was with the Seahawks at some point when we drafted
Robert Saleh,
Bobby Wagner, and Bruce Irvin.
Okay.
And press conferences, they're like, asked him, like, what do you think about the grades? He's like, dude, we got a D. He's like, we got a D grade when we drafted Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, and Bruce Irvin. So he's like, I don't really care what they say about it. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like that guy now. I remember.
Right, and then a lot of the coaches, even on our team, and some of the players that came, basically said the number one reason they were coming to our team, like Nathaniel Hackett, coach, ex-offensive coordinator before we even had Rodgers, was they're like, why would you come to the Jets? He's like, one reason, Robert Saleh. So I feel like when people are saying that about him, a lot of people around the league, I know Sherm said a bunch of he said if I was playing, I would hire him, he would be my first choice. So I feel like he just gets it. He gets his players. And this is going off a tangent, but he did tell his players, the reason we take you, the reason we draft you is because we want to make you money. We want to get you to the best version of you where you can excel at what you do. Whether it's with us or with someone else, obviously we want to keep our talent, but his job as a coach is to make the best players. So I'm excited. G-Man Jash, you want to go with the G-Man Giants next? Do we want to go grab a burger or anybody?
I think you talked for quite a while there, so I think I might be able to keep it shorter than that. But guys, I want to first talk about the New York Giants draft room. It is the most technologically advanced draft room in the entire NFL. If you watch this draft, or if you go to Giants.com and watch just a little 2-minute of their draft room, it is insanity, the technology they have. And then as I watched the draft this year, I noticed the whiteboards and the people with their papers and magnets, and they're in a class of their own. I'm serious. It's the future of draft rooms. You'll start to see it as soon as next year. 67, 60-inch TVs, or 147. Joe Shane's in a cockpit. He can just hit one button. It brings the prospect up. It brings his teammates, his coaches, everything up. It is absolutely the future of drafting. And with that, We felt it valuable to draft Deontay Banks in the first round. Talked about him, D-back. We got 3 starters in my mind immediately from the draft. Deontay Banks will be at D-back. And then John Michael Schmitz, best center in the draft, drafted after the Jets picked a different center. This guy's a 4-year guy, 5-year guy with the COVID, Minnesota. He's a plug and play for 10 years, the experts say. So true. And then my favorite pick of the draft, A, because he's a weapon, and B, because of what he did at Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver, a Litnikoff winner. Go watch the Alabama tape, and you're going to wonder if this is like his career or one game. 5 catches, 6 catches, 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns against Alabama. Tennessee won the game, and this talk about always open. This guy is always open. He's so fast, and he's one of those high athlete, scored high, and he's going to take the top off and open it up for Saquon to run around a little better. So great draft by the Giants. We picked up a running back later, safety, and some other guys, but obviously very happy and excited. 3 starters in my mind for sure. And one undrafted free agent I liked. Receiver from West Virginia, Wheaton, Mr. Wheaton. He kind of reminds me of Plaxico, so maybe we can start bringing that guy back without the Glock.
Shooting yourself in the leg.
And that's a wrap.
Thanks.
All right. So what were we just talking about? Oh yeah.
Did you
How'd your team do in the draft?
Did the Seahawks like their? I already know.
So, all right. Witherspoon, I obviously love it when you draft a guy who has more interceptions than he has touchdowns given up. That is a huge stat. You guys know already that I was gushing about Jackson Smith and Jigba prior to the draft, and I'll be gushing about him for many, many years to come now. And I thought that would have been enough for us. But we went out, we got Derek Hall from Auburn, who's a stud linebacker. We got Zach Charbonnet to back up Walker, and that's going to be a dynamic duo because they both can catch. Like you could put Charbonnet as a wide receiver, slot receiver, and he's still going to be a damaging threat. We got Anthony Bradford, a guard out of LSU, which is amazing. Cameron Young from Mississippi State. And then we took 2 Michigan boys back to back. We got Mike Morris. And then I can't pronounce the center's name, but he's one of the best centers in college football. And he was there at like 154. And center was like one of the only things I was like, yeah, we got that guy, Evans, in the offseason through free agency, but this just shores up that position even more. And then Jarek Reed and a safety and a running back to close it out. I just think it's sad that some of these guys aren't going to make the 53. But that's a good problem to have. So how many of them are going to be starters? I have no idea. And I've heard people complaining about the pick 20. And I'm just like, you guys are insane, dude. They're like, why would you draft somebody that's only going to be on the field 60% of the time? I'm like, that's enough.
Because they make an impact when they're in.
I'm like,
when they're in the end zone, it's not that they don't have to be on the field the whole time.
Seahawk fans are stupid, dude. I'm sorry, you guys are fucking dumb. At least you can read and you're well read, like unlike Kansas City fans, but you're fucking dumb when it comes to football. Sorry. But yeah, I love our draft. I give us an A. I'm not gonna go A+ and be that kind of a homer, but I mean, I think that we did what we needed to do. And we got tons and tons of options now. So then this is the ultimate crux of the situation for this coming season. It all depends on if Geno Smith plays at the level he played last year. That's it.
Yep.
If he does, we're going a long way. If he doesn't,
Can he play better? year 2 in the system, more weapons. Why can't he?
Yeah, I mean that's to be seen. But like I said, if he doesn't, back to the draft because we will have to get a quarterback in the next 2 years. So
All right. All right. And now to the person that's kind of still in NFL.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead with your pack.
let's go on a journey. So if the Giants have the most advanced draft room, I'm pretty sure the Packers have a phone book and a dartboard and how they make picks. So Lucas Van Ness, I talked about ad nauseum. I won't talk about him anymore. I hope he's good. I don't think he's going to be. Luke Musgrave at 42, tight end from Oregon State. He's undersized. He has no separation. He has no breakaway speed, and his hands are pretty questionable. They picked Jaden Reed from Michigan State, who's very undersized for a wide receiver. So they're looking to replace Randall Cobb with a worse version of Randall Cobb. The most exciting pick, Tucker Kraft, another tight end. That we picked a tight end 2 picks before. Tucker Kraft, he's a tight end from South Dakota State, and he's a big boy. Could be Gronk level talented, could be working at Home Depot next year. We don't know. He's from South Dakota State, totally unproven. I hope he's great. I don't think he's going to be. And in the 4th round, we finally make a need pick. We pick up Colby Wooden, defensive tackle from Auburn, to replace Dean Lowry. Dean Lowry, one of the largest, fastest defensive linemen in the division. We pick a guy from Auburn who's small and slow. So Colby Wooden, bad pick. And then round 5, we take a fucking quarterback, Sean Clifford from Penn State. And then after that, round 6, we took a kicker. It's honestly, I don't
dude,
care.
this is you're making this up.
Yeah, you're making those last 2 picks up. Are those last 2 made up?
Look them up, man.
That's
the Purdy effect.
You know what? Like I feel like this draft room went together and says, "There's this fucking guy."
I know. Like how can we they took the sad Packers picture and they blew it up and they put it like 50 feet across like their training room wall, and they're like, let's do this. Like, let's not stop until every fan in the United States, wearing green and gold, feels like this fucking guy. And that's how we made our picks. God damn it. NFL.
NFL, guys. Well, kind of in closing, I do want to bring it back to the beginning because Dames Marv said a really cool thing about the draft, and I almost forgot about it, but I don't know if anybody out there watched the little Jets fan who recovered from cancer come out, make a wish, and did the JET. Dude, that gave me chills. That gave me
that pumped me up too, man.
It's just like this little kid who like almost dies from cancer is still celebrating the same things like our picks. Like we get to talk about NFL picks. So that's good on the league. Make-A-Wish Foundation. Awesome. Anybody else have anything to add before we hit the road? We'll be back sometime here preseason to start talking about our picks in the division, kind of see how we're all doing, maybe our early preseason picks as well. We will let you guys know when that comes out. G-Man Jazz, looks like you need to say something.
Yeah, I got a closing thought, kind of going with what Dame says. As you get older and watch the draft, I've noticed more and more the talent level, you from round 1 to round, maybe round 2 to round 5, 2 to 6, there is so much talent out there, and it really is all about getting the right guys for your system, let buy in, and you utilize them the best you can. And some get the money and run, some have injuries, and they just have the drive and the it factor. So it's crazy, but the talent is everywhere.
All right.
Almost everywhere.
Except
almost everywhere.
Green Bay. Again, thanks for viewing. Down below, I'm still looking for some people to take that bet. $20. Jets win 10 games this year. So far, we got 2. Dames Marlin.
Regular season
games. I mean, with A-Rod, it's pretty tough to take that bet. I'm Midwest Jet. Dames Marvs, G-Man Jazz, GOBO. Thank you so much for viewing. Again, see you soon. Here comes season 2 of NFHell.
Don't forget to speak your piece in the comments section. Also, like and subscribe to Lock 22 Productions, and thank you for listening to NFHell.